Welcome to Wednesday Web Chat. This is Carl Lewis, your host from Vision 33. And today we will have a special guest. Sarah Humphreys will be here to talk to us and show us a little bit about the employee portal from Vision 33, and especially focusing on the role of the sales user and the sales user plugin that we have for that portal. And I will turn the controls over to you here in just a moment.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Carl. That was a lovely introduction. And hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to have the time with you to chat a little bit more about Vision 33's employee portal and the customer relationship management functionality within that. My plan today really is just to give you an overview. I have a few slides that I'll walk through briefly, but then we'll jump into a demonstration. So the Sales User for Employee portal really just helps to improve your business relationships with both your prospects and your customers, and give you real-time access to SAP Business One for those employees that may be working remotely nowadays, or not necessarily have a SAP Business One license. So we'll get into a little bit more detail on that as well. Just a high-level overview of the employee portal itself. It is a web-based tool so that you can access it really on any device as long as you have internet access. So it is available on your cell phone, of course, your tablet, desktop computer, laptop, whatever it may be. And the nice part about this as well is that you can access it 24/7. So if you work late, you work mornings, weekends if you need to, you'll always be able to access the tool whenever you need to. It's also 100% configured in SAP. So everything you need to, say, create a report, manage your menus, anything like that, you can actually do and manage within SAP Business One. There's no real third-party web application you need to go into. And lastly, it's real time. So that way, you'll have one central location of the truth, which is SAP Business One. Your employees will have access to that accurate data through the portal, whether it be reports, order history for their customers, updated pricing or inventory. They'll have all of that available in the portal. A few other little tidbits related to the portal around like its hosting. So Vision 33 hosts it on our AWS, Amazon Web Services environment, and it's subscription based. So 495 US, 350 Great British pounds if you're on that side of the world per month, and it's just a monthly recurring fee for that. And then most importantly, it can be branded to reflect your business. So here at Vision 33, we use this tool ourselves internally. We've got some different styling on there as well. So there's a consistent look and feel with, the Vision 33 brand and what we do as an organization. And here you see, of course, a snippet of what that would look like on, an iPhone, for example. So I'll talk a little bit about dashboards, and I'll go into more detail as well during the demonstration. But with the Vision 33 employee portal, you can have unique dashboards related to the data that's in SAP Business One. So you can create them and you can monitor the data within that. If you have, a weekly call with your sales team, you can review this report to see how things are going. So you can see as well, we have some different style reports that you can use. And really it's just SAP queries running in the back end. So, the rule of thumb is as long as the information is in SAP, you can actually query that and publish it to the portal in a way that makes sense to your user. You can also manage leads and customers. So within the employee portal and the sales user functionality, you can add, a lead or a customer and the contacts within that organization. You can see here, of course, we've got a little snippet of what that looks like. You can even update the contact record, and that will also reflect back in SAP Business One and update the business partner master record. We also take into consideration activities, so things like tasks, notes, and the associated attachments. So we have tasks and notes are supported, and you can also add, maybe a meeting minute or a contract example or some call notes, things like that that you want to attach to the activity. That will also be included in there as well. And then ultimately you can leverage that data to then report on it for the management team or any executive members to review any progress or areas of interest. So it's a nice way to see what's going on within the organization. And then lastly, of course, you can drill in and edit them if you need to. So most importantly, I believe would be the customer relationship management tool around opportunities. So you have an opportunities dashboard where you can see your entire sales cycle, whether it be all year, for the quarter, for the month, or for a specific territory or a salesperson. And it breaks it up by different stages in a sales cycle. So what I have on the screen here, of course, is a sample of what you could be doing, but of course, depending on how you run your sales cycle, it can be modified, of course, to match each stage that makes sense to you. You can edit the opportunity details, any numbers associated with that, dates, and even add tasks, notes, and attachments to the opportunity. And then, of course, as you're moving things along, I'll show you the really nice tool of being able to just drag and drop it along the different stages. And also the ability to create sales quotes and orders. So instead of having to call up someone internally or send an email to someone internally and say, hey, I need you to create an order or a sales quotation in SAP Business One for me with the following details, they can actually come in and do that themselves. So whether it be on their cell phone or their desktop computer, they can log into Employee Portal, select the customer who they want to give access to, and create a quote or an order for them. Of course, that takes into consideration any special pricing that they have, which is also nice because, having the real representation of, your business and your special pricing is super important when creating quotes for the customer. We've also added some additional details that you can see up top in the right-hand corner, like being able to copy to another quote or another order, or even copy this particular quote to another customer. So just some tools and tips to help move things along quicker and more efficiently. Available to promise. So with available to promise, you're able to see what the inventory availability is for that particular item. So you can see here on the snippet, we see number available is 1,043. So that's a configurable query that is currently calculating the on-hand inventory less committed plus ordered. Of course, that can be modified based on what you'd like to display, depending on the requirement, of course. But basically just lets the employee know what you have available to promise the customer. The capture of the signature on deliveries is quite an important tool so that you can, review the scheduled deliveries and see what's outstanding that needs to be signed, of course. And then you can actually get the customer to sign off on that through the portal. So you can see here, I've signed ever so gracefully on the bottom here, and that captures the signature and the timestamp as well, and that will actually associate that as an activity on the delivery note. And then optionally, you can configure it to accept cash on delivery. So that's just a little feature we've added there as well. So now that I've gone through all of those slides, let's take a look at the functionality within the employee portal and what it would look like for you to use this tool day to day. So here we have the employee portal login page, and each employee, of course, would have their own unique username and password. So to give your employee access, it would be done through SAP Business One. Like I mentioned earlier, it's 100% configured in SAP. So let's take a look at that before we jump into the portal. So if we come under the Human Resources module here, under the Employee Master, and then we just select the employee we want to give access to the portal. Here you can see Interconnect User Setup. So that's Vision 33's add-on, and you'll see those buttons throughout the screens in SAP, but really it's just a place for you to come in and create the web user for the employee portal. Give them their username, temporary password. It will then require them to log in within 24 hours, as it does have an expiry time frame. And then they'll have to add a password that makes sense to them with some security questions. Enable their account, select the employee portal application, and then decipher, which role we want to have for each employee. So you might have a management role that sees, everything within the organization, and then you might have an executive role that sees only data that's unique to them. Similarly, you could have some employees giving them the ability to edit quotes or orders, and then some you may not. It's just a nice way to, control the level of access that each user has. So I'll jump out of here and come back into the employee portal. And then I'll log in now using my unique username. And we'll take a look at the employee portal with the sales user functionality around customer relationship management. So when you log in, you have a dashboard, like I mentioned earlier on the slide, that outlines the data relevant to myself. So you can see here that it's a sales exec dashboard. So it's going to outline, my sales in Canada, for example, on a geo map. We have some tools here, the darker the region, the more sales in that location. As you hover over, you can see the different numbers. A recent sales order grid. We have some gauges as well that outline what's going on within the organization around, my quote to close ratio, average purchase value. And the nice piece about this is that it's real time. So whatever data is in SAP Business One is what I'm seeing here. So that way I can make smart business decisions, review how I'm doing and see, what's my gap to close this year? What do I have left to complete, more or less? We also have some KPIs, line, bar chart. And really, the data doesn't have to be sales related. So the nice part about Employee Portal itself is that you can have an unlimited number of users accessing this tool, and you can actually have different types of dashboards. So if you want to have a production dashboard, an accounting dashboard, warehouse management dashboard, things like that, they're just queries at the end of the day. So you can actually create different dashboard views. So you see here, what I'm going to show you today, of course, is mostly sales related because that's the topic of the day. You can see here we have, different drop downs with different views of a dashboard. So you can really get creative in terms of what data you want to display here for, a specific role. A management person might want to see all their sales reps and how they're doing, have the ability to come in and drill down by a specific rep, and get a better idea of their progress for the year or, any recent orders they've completed, outstanding AR, for example. So just some different ways to display the information that's in SAP Business One in a way that's real time and accurate. All right, so that is the dashboard in a nutshell. I know we only have a little bit of time associated with today's call, but of course, if you want to see a more in-depth demo on how this is configured, of course, we can schedule a call separately so we can review it together. But I'm gonna go through each step just so that way I can cover everything in the time allotted for today. If we take a look at the menu here, you can see that within the employee portal, we have a main navigation and a favorites column. Just ignore expense user because that's another plugin, of course. But today we're going to talk specifically about sales user. And then within that, you see there are different options like coming in to review your opportunities, reports on opportunity analysis, your customer details, your sales team and their customers, any recent orders or quotes, open activities, closed activities, and so on. So I'll try to get through everything today, but of course we can always schedule some time at a later date to review in more detail. I'll walk through the day in the life of an average salesperson and give you an idea of how this tool can be used. So if we come in here to add new lead, up at the top here, you see the button that says add new lead. It'll give you a form where you can come in and fill out the basic business partner master record details that are required to create that record. So customer name, card code, the type, website remarks, the group name, and the phone number. And down here, we have a form as well to add a contact. So that just requires the basic contact details like, phone, position, email, address, and so on. And similarly down here as well, we have the address. So likewise, a form where you fill in the address details, you can set, the bill to and the ship to. You can have multiple addresses in here. You can set a default, just different things that you can use to create a business partner master record. So now let's come up to the customer search, which is querying a list of all customers in this case. You can tailor this query, of course, to display only the customers related to the specific sales user, but in today's demo, I am actually the sales manager, so I see everyone. I'll come in here and then I'll quickly search for my business partner that I'm going to work with today. And I'll grab Sarah's widgets. So here you see the customer detail, which is a direct representation of the business partner master record that's in SAP Business One. So anything that's going on in there, whether you're updating a phone number or adding a new contact or address, I'll be able to see that in real time as well through the employee portal. And one other nice thing here as well, you have a location map. So if I have, a US office in this case, it will actually display their location on a map, which is nice to see. And we have, 3 contacts, 1 bill to, and then we have 2 ship tos in this case. And of course, you can make any edits as well. Now on to the tasks and notes, which are directly related to the activities in SAP Business One. So I like to think of tasks as things that I need to do, and then notes as things that I'm keeping track of. So in this case, I have 2 to-dos, and one in this case is a follow-up that I need to check in with Sarah's widgets. So you'll see here that it requires you to add a task name, assign it to a sales user, provide a due date, and any contents. So more or less just information around that task and what's needed to be done. You can also align it with a contact that you'd like them to speak with, and then add any attachments should you need to. And then we have the log here down at the bottom, which include notes. So if you take a look here, meeting minutes from back in December, you'll see here that we have a note that outlines our meeting that we had on such and such a date with the following details. And we talked with Sarah, and it was around the, a customer check-in. And of course, any files like documents, PDFs, things like that, you can associate with that record too, just to have, a full listing of your interactions with the organization. And then down the road, you might be able to, do an analysis on a customer win story and say, we did 25 touch points in the last year, all leading to a successful project with this organization. So, let's repeat that and continue with that success, because that's, the different stages that got us to this point. So it's a nice way to be able to analyze, your feet on the street, your sales team, and see what they're up to, and use that and leverage it to make better business decisions. Up at the top here, you see as well, we have different quick links. So, customer details, which will bring you back to this page, opportunities, open orders, open invoices, quotes, deliveries, and so on. Popular items just being the common orders they place regularly. You can see here, if we drill in on opportunities, they have, 4 opportunities for this company. And if we drill in, you'll see as well, it's at lead stage. I expect it to close on May 6th with, 12,000 in potential revenue. I'm speaking with Sarah. And then, of course, any interests as well related to my products. And I'm going to jump briefly over to the opportunities dashboard so you can take a look at how that's managed day to day. So the opportunities dashboard will actually pull in every opportunity that I'm working that's related to Sarah Humphreys as the salesperson that's closing all together, or let's, drill down and say this year. You can see it toggles the data to display only the opportunities I plan to close this year. And then, the opportunities will be categorized by stage with amounts all totaled up here. And then as you're working deals, so let's say Sarah's Widgets new branch, we had our second meeting, things are going good, and she'd like me to send her a quotation. I just drag and drop that along the sales cycle, and that will update back to Business One. So once things move along to the point where we are ready to place an order for the customer or a quote, depending on how you do things, you can do that through the portal as well. So up here, you see we have a place order and place quote button. I'll come in and actually place a quote, place an order for today. So I just click the button, find the customer I want to place an order for. And here we have the order pad for the sales user functionality where I can create an order for my customer. So in this case, I'm going to create one for Neil. And now I'm going to search through my item master to create that order for them. So you can either do a quick search like I just did, or you can search by the item code or the item name. And that way you can start to build out your quote. And when I select the item, you can see it's telling me the available quantity. So that way I know I have plenty to offer the customer. You can also do some things around modifying the item name or the item price. That will only reflect on this particular order. It won't actually modify the item master, but depending on, a special agreement you might have, or if an item name makes sense internally that you wouldn't necessarily use externally, you can modify that to just make a quote much clearer. You can add subtotals, add text to explain what that item or service may be for. You can also add a discount and things like that. So just some different tools here to help you create a quote in a much more efficient way, have real-time access to the information that's in SAP Business One, and also ultimately streamline the process of order creation and integration with SAP. So here you can see I've added 3 items to my order. I'm going to come down and review the billing and shipping details. I'm actually going to ship that to a US office. Select from the supported shipping methods that I have configured in my Business One environment. And then additional details around requested delivery, dock date, and posting date. Fill in my PO number, any special instructions. So we'll say, deliver to back door. And then any notes, of course, if you need to add any. So we'll say, these are a loyal customer, treat them well. And then as you refresh totals, that will calculate any tax, discounts, things like that, along with the customer's pricing. So I'll go ahead and submit that order so you can see what it would look like for your team to come in and do this and what it would look like from an SAP Business One perspective. So the order summary is available for review. If they want, they can, save a copy of this and, email it to the customer. And when it comes through to SAP Business One, it will be a sales order, and it'll also be associated with the appropriate sales person, company record, items, quantity, and so on, and any remarks too. So from here, I'm just going to follow the next step in creating the sales order, creating the delivery. And then I'll add that here. So we've created delivery 498. So now if I come back to the employee portal, I'll show you the delivery detail. So if we take a look at the delivery detail, we'll sort by the date, and you can see here delivery 498 has not been signed for this particular customer. So if I drill in on that here, you'll see that the delivery detail is available for me to review with the customer along with all the relevant delivery details, notes. I can specify if I received cash upon delivery, any notes, who I was speaking with, and then have them sign off on it. And then when you save the signature, it will actually save it as a signature capture with the appropriate timestamp. And then if we come back to Business One, and then we refresh that here and take a look at the related activities, you'll see here that there is a single activity. And if I drill in on that here, you'll see it's a delivery signature on this date at this time with the appropriate delivery attached, the signature attached. So that's really the average life in a salesperson from initial prospecting, adding leads and customers to Business One, working that deal through the opportunity stages, and then either placing a sales quotation or an order. Once that's done, reviewing the delivery details and having them sign off on it. I know we are coming up on we only have a little bit of time left, so I want to show you one last thing. You can see we have tons and tons of different report samples here. So you can get really creative in terms of what information you'd like to see or share with your employees, their queries at the end of the day. So this one here in particular is an order analysis that says, these are my employees, these are the customers they've sold to in Q3 and Q4. And the nice part about this is the ability to modify the query or modify the actual report itself, drag and drop, different things to see, what items did they order. If I want to say just look at it by customer or drill in on a particular customer, you can come in and review that data as well. So this can be done with not only sales order data, it can be done with pretty much anything as long as the data is in SAP. So with that, I'm going to clue up the demonstration. Of course, if you want to see a little bit more detail, because I'd love to get, a lot of nitty-gritty information in there, but we only had so much time. Let me know. My contact details are here. You can either call me or send me an email, and I'd be happy to schedule a more in-depth demonstration to see how it would make sense for your organization. But with that, Carl, I'm going to hand it back over to you and let me know if we had any questions come through.
Yeah, Sarah, thank you very much. That was great. Just a couple of questions. This does not require a Business One license, correct?
Correct.
So yeah, there's really no limit to how many users can access this system.
Yes, so with the employee portal, you can have an unlimited number of users access the tool. With the sales user function, it is a per user per month license, which is $20 per month
Right.
per user.
So far different than having to purchase a license for each individual user in SAP
Exactly.
Business One. For sure. Yeah, that's great. Wonderful. And I noticed there's lots of new little features since the last time I even saw the application. So that's great. It continues to be refined and improved over the years, which is awesome. All the best ideas come from customers using it, I'm sure.
Yes, and we certainly take that into consideration as well. So as we grow and we have new releases, you'll see little tidbits, little features here and there that just make things much, much easier to use.
Wonderful. Well, sir, thank you for joining us again on Wednesday Web Chat, and thank everyone for being here today. We look forward to seeing all of you again on another episode of Wednesday Web Chat. Thanks, Sarah.
So welcome. Thanks for having me.
Bye bye now.
Bye-bye.